On number 15, you're asked to find the measures of sides T and R rounded to the nearest tenth. So remember, you need to decide if you need to use law of sines or law of cosines. Remember, you want to use law of sines if you can. If you can't use law of sines, you use law of cosines. Law of sines requires an opposite angle and side measure. So here we have this angle, but not this side. We have this angle, but not that side. And we have this side, but not that angle. So you might think that law of sines can't be used, but anytime you're given two angles, you can find the third using your triangle sum theorem. So all you need to do is add the 24 and the 98 together. 24 plus 98 is 122, and then subtract that from 180 to get that missing angle. So we know that missing angle has to be 58 degrees. So knowing angle y allows me to use the law of sines since I now have an opposite angle and side pair. So I'm going to have to use the law of sines twice, but both times I'm going to use the y's as one of my ratios. I wouldn't want to use, like when I find r, I wouldn't want to use it to find t because r will be a rounded number. So I'm going to use the sine of angle y over side y both times for both sides that I'm trying to find. So since I did the sine on the top of this ratio, I'm going to have to stay consistent with that. So when I'm finding side r, my angle 98, I'm going to put the sine of 98 in the numerator. So both my sines are in the numerator. And then the side, which is unknown as r, will go in the denominator just to stay consistent. So now I can cross multiply. R times sine of 58 is equal to 7.9 times sine of 98. Remember to put those numbers in front as coefficients. So to get r by itself, all I have to do is undo the multiplication between it and the sine of 58 by dividing by the sine of 58 on both sides. So my r is equal to 7.9 sine of 98 divided by sine of 58. Make sure your calculator is in degree mode, so always check that. And so we can find our answer by putting in 7.9 sine of 98. Make sure you close the parentheses on that 98 divided by sine of 58. And the last parentheses isn't that necessary, but it's nice to close it off anyway. So my r value to the nearest tenth, I have a 2, next door is a 2, so that 2 stays a 2. So r is approximately 9.2. There's only one answer that has r as 9.2, and that's A. So we already know our answer is A without finding t, but let's go ahead and do that anyway. Remember, we're using our y's again, the sine of the angle over the side. So we're going to do sine of the angle for t, which is angle t. So sine of angle t, which is sine of 24, over side t is unknown. So same thing, you're cross multiplying t times sine of 58 equals 7.9 sine of 24 and undoing the multiplication by dividing by the sine of 58. So it's very similar to what we did to find r, except now instead of the angle being 98, it's 25 degrees. Oop, I put 25 and it should be 24. There we go, that's a 24. All right, so now to find t, we're putting in 7.9. And actually, if you want to, you can just go up here and hit enter and bring that back down. Since the only difference is that 98, that's becoming a 24. That's the easiest thing to put in your calculator. So we can see we have a 7 in the tenths place. Next door is an 8, so that 7 becomes an 8. So our t is approximately 3.8, which is also only on choice A.